Welcome back to the Baltimore Flockcast, the #1 Ravens podcast in the world. I guess us changing the title of the video did not make a difference on the game, but to be fair, the whole team was hurt. Guess let's get right into it. We had a trade. OWEH is gone. So we have traded OWEH. Oh, let me just start from the top. So we have received, I think his name's pronounced Alohi and a 2026 fifth-round pick. And we have sent Odafe OWEH and the Rams' 7th-round pick in 2027 to the Chargers. So I think this is I'm going to clap. I think this is a cap-clearing move. This is something that shows us that we have another trade possibly on the horizon, another move on the way. Yeah, OWEH was also in a contract year. That's a big thing to keep in mind when judging this trade. I know Alohi isn't the player we envisioned or really wanted on this team at all. But keep in mind, he is a healthy body that will help, especially in a time where we really need that. Yes, it's nice to upgrade a pick as well, but I'll be honest, it hurts looking at that return for OWEH. Yes, OWEH was not the belle of the ball, hasn't had a crazy career, but dude was still pretty solid. I almost slipped up there. This is a kid's show as well. But it definitely hurts. I know it was a contract year, and you could argue that we could be getting less when the deadline gets even closer. I would argue back and say we could have definitely gotten more. I feel like this is just a quick trade that John did with Jim, quick brother-to-brother trade. We could have gotten a lot more out of this. Yes, we're very injured. We need guys to suit up now. I think this is more of a panic trade. Not a fan of this at all. Yes, always good to upgrade draft picks, but man, 2 rounds and we traded. Well, it's basically upgrading 2 rounds, I'd say. Yes, our 7th-round picks for 2027. So you could argue that's kind of just a wash in general because it's a last round a year from now. Man, I'm not happy with this. Guess we can't hang on to too long because OWEH isn't a franchise-altering player. So whatever. I'm going to get off my soapbox, but I'm not happy with this trade. Yes, I get it. We need another body to fill in, but I think you could have gotten more for OWEH. Injuries. Hopefully this is not a repeating segment on the show because I'm getting pretty sick of it. I guess we'll start with who we're still missing. For the big ones here. Apologize. That destroyed the mic. I had to get a little hair off the phone. Ravens are still missing Roquan Smith with a hamstring strain. Chidobe Awuzie with a hamstring strain. Lamar Jackson with a hamstring strain. Interesting, all hamstrings, right? We'll get back to that. Pat Ricard once again with a calf. And Marlon Humphrey with a calf. This is a bit odd. We have all hamstrings and 2 calves. Just seems like it could be a coincidence. I guess I'm going to put on the tinfoil hat here. Why is it all hamstrings and calves? It worries me. I guess we'll just worry about the hamstrings. Is there something that's going on in practice? Or I know these injuries happen during the game, but it's just odd, and it worries me to see that the same injuries are popping up. And if you look at the report last week, I know we have 2 calf injuries, but we'll just say that's a coincidence. The injury report last week, we had more than just these 3 with the hamstrings. We had 2 other guys as well with hamstring injuries. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not saying anything. I guess it's the word malignant. I don't know. It sounds right. Is there anything malignant going on behind the scenes or anything that is just pushing the boys a little too far? I don't know. I'm not accusing them of that. But it is strange to see all these hamstring injuries pop up, especially at the same time to players that are all first-string guys that are all getting first-string reps all the time. But getting off my tinfoil hat soapbox, all these guys I just named here that are still missing practice, This came out after Wednesday practice. This was the Wednesday injury report. So I'll let you guys know if they miss Wednesday, they're probably going to miss the game. Thursday's the biggest testament. You can always go off of that. But at least me personally, if a guy only has one true practice day with Thursday and then a Friday walkthrough, not feeling super confident about them playing, or it's either going to be on a limited snap count or it'll just be him out there being super rusty. So going off that, I would say that Roquan, Chidobe, Lamar, Pat Ricard, and Marlon Humphrey will all be out and miss the game this week against the Rams. It's not the end of the world. We play the Rams, and then we have a bye week, so keep that in mind with all these guys. They're going to miss this game, and then have one more week off. It's going to be the bye week, and then we'll come back, and everything should be good again. We'll start our run to the Super Bowl. Lamar will be healthy. Everything will be okay. Hopefully. But yeah, Lamar, hamstring remains out, but that means big names like Ronnie Stanley with his ankle and Kyle Hamilton with his groin, they're practicing today. Absolutely love to see that. Hopefully we can just make a run after the bye week, man. It's possible. We'll talk about it a little bit more in depth later, but I've said it every episode, it feels like, since this losing skid has started. We just have to be better than the Steelers. And I guess the Bengals maybe now, because they got Joe Cool, the real one, in Cincinnati. The Bengals traded for Joe Flacco. I don't think it really matters. No offense, Joe, you're 40 years old. I'm not seeing you guys as a threat. Am I worried on Thanksgiving for you guys to ruin my son's first birthday? Possibly. I don't want you to ruin my Thanksgiving or his birthday, so please don't spare us, King Joe Flacco. But back to realness here. Am I worried about Joe and the Bengals making a run? Definitely not. Am I worried about the Browns? No. So that leaves us with one team. Yes, the Steelers have a good record, but am I worried about them? I'm sorry if this sounds pretentious, but I'm not worried at all. Barring injury, hopefully it doesn't get any worse. If all the boys come back post-bye, let's say we lose this week. I'm not going to give out a prediction now. But let's say we lose to the Rams. And that puts us at 1-5. Not great. I think we're still all right. I'm not panicking because I believe that we can finish out the season with just, I don't know, 2 more losses. I'm not going to say we're going to go undefeated and run the table. But yeah, throw 2 more losses in there, and then we only have 7 losses on the year, 10-7. You're telling me that Pittsburgh's going to finish 10-7 or better? No way. You know the old joke, the memes that go around. They love to go 500 or 1 game above it, and then they slide into the playoffs. We just got to win 10 games. And I'm positive, and I'm sure we can do it, barring injury. But our new safeties, Alohi Gilman and CJ Gardner-Johnson. Oh yeah, breaking news. CJ Gardner-Johnson's on our practice squad, and he's definitely going to be playing because we are very hurt. But the new guys, Alohi's going to be wearing number 12, and CJ Gardner-Johnson's going to be wearing number 6. With all the injuries, they are going to be out on the field this weekend. I can guarantee you that, in some facet. To the sad news, so this is the most points we've allowed in the first 5 games in franchise history. Just going to sit there and let that soak in. That is disgusting and despicable. I am done sugarcoating things. I'm done being the optimist. That is awful. And if we don't see any changes soon on the field, we're going to have to make changes staff-wise or who's playing. We'll talk about that more later. We'll get back to the defense in a second. I just wanted to get to Derrick Henry. Man, this sucks. Derrick Henry has not been performing. Obviously, our line's not been performing as well. And you got to think, what's going on? Is Derrick getting old? Because I know this offseason, our first episode, or second maybe, I said that I thought Derrick would have a regression year. It would not be great. But I still predicted like 1,200 yards and boatload of touchdowns, something like that. I watched the film. I'll tell you guys what's going on here. It's bad. It's a mix of things. Derrick has lost a step, slightly, I'll be honest. He's still elite though. And also, it's bad touches and also a bad line. The line's not opening up holes for him. He's getting awful carries. This dude's averaging 6 yards per carry on first down. Something to note. And he's getting awful carries due to us losing all the time, for lack of better words. The line's also making it a terrible recipe because you've watched the Ravens this year. The offensive line's not been good in any facet. Not opening up holes for him. He's been having to make things of himself. And let's be honest, it's Derrick Henry. You should expect him to do that more, but it's hard. But he's also to blame. He's slow, looks like he's missed a step. But Derrick's the type of back where he needs more to get going for like a lot of these home run hits. Because you see Derrick, he really just builds up speed. He's like a Mack truck, right? You don't. So a lot of running backs, I guess we'll go to cars here. You got some running backs that are like Lamborghinis. And then you got Derrick Henry, who's a Mack truck. That Lambo will go 0 to 60 real quick. But Derrick, it takes a little second. But once he hits that gear, he will run anyone over. And he's going to be going quick, right? So Derrick, unfortunately, has never had the best takeoff speed in his career. And I feel like now I've just noticed watching the film, rewatching the games, it's gotten a little bit worse. And we've seen that. So the line's been bad, haven't been opening up holes for Derrick. And in return, we're just getting this production, which is terrible. It's not a great spot to be in. I don't really know what we can to fix it because it's not like you can just trade for an elite guard or tackle or any lineman. So I guess we just got to hope that things come together, which is not a reassuring thing to hear or say. It definitely seems like he's lost a touch. So hopefully we can figure something out either schematically or just chewing out the boys on the line, saying, get your stuff together. We need to open up holes for the king. If it's that or splitting more carries, getting Keaton Mitchell active on game day. Please, John Harbaugh, for the love of God, get him active on game day. Give the ball to Rasheen Ali, anything. We just need to see more success on the ground. And whatever we have to do, we should do. I'm getting sick of defending him. I love Derrick Henry. He's one of the greatest running backs of all time. I know the line's not helping, but we got to see something happen here, buddy. That's out of respect. Roll Tide. I love you. Harbaugh also said the Ravens have been leaning on Chuck Pagano immensely. Trying to make defensive fixes. Chuck is involved. This is a quote here. Chuck is involved. He's on the phones making suggestions. Chuck is a great coach, and he's a huge part of it. He and Zach are talking all the time. And he also said Dean Pees has been helping out a lot with the defense as well. So we have not been hearing anything about this until recent. I know obviously those guys are assistants, they're coaches, they're supposed to help, that's their job. But hearing about how now they're heavily involved and on calls with Zach, this is a sign to me that Zach Orr is on, this sounds dumb to even say, but on the hottest of hot seats you could possibly imagine. I know any Ravens fan could guess after I just said that this is the most points we've allowed through 5 games in franchise history, but if your head coach is talking about how all the other older assistants are in here to help you, it's not looking great. I'm going to tell you, I think big things are going to happen this Sunday. And we'll get to that in my prediction. So make sure you keep tuning in to my prediction at the end of the episode. Oh my Lord. Sorry, the cat just moved. Hope the camera is okay. Oh my Lord. Sorry about that. Oh, I also saw Mark Andrews is available for trade. I wanted to plug this in at the end. Obviously, smoke is pumped out by every GM. You see posts like this, you always take it with a grain of salt. I would like to remind you guys that Mark Andrews is in a contract year. So I would definitely buy in that Mark Andrews is available for trade. On top of that, do I think he gets traded? Absolutely not. Because what can a team offer us that helps us win a Super Bowl now? More than Mark being there. Yeah, Mark has been a dud all year, for lack of better words. But do you think EDC is going to say, oh yeah, a 5th round pick helps us win a Super Bowl more than Mark Andrews on the field? No, absolutely not. I know Mark is, for lack of a better word, sucked this year, but we're not going to get much better than, I'd say, even a 4th-round pick. And that still does not help us win a Super Bowl this year. So Mark Andrews is here to stay. Unless someone wants to send us some crazy offer, and I'm sure I'd be very willing to listen, and EDC would as well. Here we go. Let's get to the prediction. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I love saying the Ravens are going to win every week. I kind of had to lie to myself and give myself the copium, as you would say, and pray for a Ravens win against the Texans. But that's not going to happen this week. I'm going to be honest. The Ravens are going to lose. If I had to put a score out there, I don't know, 41-10. We're going to get absolutely blown out. Zach Orr is going to get embarrassed. Zach Orr is going to get fired quickly. Either Chuck Pagano or Dean Pees will be our defensive coordinator. I prefer Chuck. I know he's getting a little up there in age, but whatever one works. We still got both of them in the building. The culture, especially on defense, something's wrong. We need a change. Zach Orr, you're a great assistant. You were a great player until you got the injury. I hope that somehow we could still keep you in the organization, but you are just not ready to be a defensive coordinator yet. Hopefully one day you will, but not yet. And I think this game's going to reflect that and be the final stake in the heart. But yes, the Ravens lose again. We're going to be 1-5. But as I said earlier, we're going to go into the bye week, get healthy, and go on a run. We just have to be better than Pittsburgh. Is it that hard to be better than a 41-year-old quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, and that garbage team? No. We also got a 40-year-old quarterback, Joe Flacco, leading the Bengals. That's our other foe we have to worry about. Not worried about that. Or Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders with the Browns, who are probably the worst team in the league. Guys, it will be okay. We are going to get absolutely boat raced and blown out this weekend, but everything is okay. We will still make the playoffs. We will win the division. We just won't be the number 1 seed, and that's okay. We weren't the number 1 seed when we won it in 2012. We weren't the number 1 seed in 2000. Have faith. We'll see you next week, guys. Like, subscribe, give me 5 stars, share it with your family, all the other Ravens fans, and we'll see you after. I was going to say this Ravens win, but we're not going to win. So we'll see you next week. Hopefully we'll win, but I don't think it's going to happen.